Let's see. Yo. Hold on, let's see. Yo, what is up, guys? I am live. Let's go. Oh, man, I was about to curse. Watkins got 2 assists, man. That is beautiful. Let me make sure I am streaming properly here. Yes, welcome back to another stream. How's it going, Blues? Let me get my phone here. Oh, man, let me put on the Christmas hat. It's a happy Boxing Day to me. You know, here in America, we don't get Boxing Day presents, but Ollie Watkins certainly did give me one. So, oh, man, I got too big a head. This thing is going to fit. All right, there we go. Ollie Watkins. So, let's talk about this game real quick. First of all, welcome back to the stream. If you're watching this on video, I'm just so excited. I decided to keep Watkins. You know, over the long term, it was probably a bad decision to keep Watkins, but for the short term, it was definitely a good decision. In terms of making the decision this week, so glad I kept him. Yeah, that is just amazing. But Watkins has actually looked pretty good. You know, to be honest, he's looked good a lot, but he just hasn't got the points. One thing that's interesting is to see if Martinez can actually keep this clean sheet for the rest of the game. I'm not really sure if that will happen or not. But how is it going, guys? Did you sell Watkins? I guess that's the question. Once Understat updates, I want to see where all he got his shots from. I haven't been able to watch the whole game, so we'll be able to see what he's been up to. I think I may still sell him. Yeah, so Reece James and Chilwell starting kind of upsets me, to be honest. Watkins just got another assist. All right. I'm just going to turn the stream off. This is just too good. It's too good to stream this right now. Watkins, another assist. You know, somebody commented last stream, when Watkins does get returns, he goes big. This is exactly that. Crystal Palace, by the way, last 2 games, they've conceded 10 goals. And right now, they're playing against 10 men. Geez, what a fantastic matchup this has been. Grealish only with 3 points so far. Does that put Watkins in the bonus, though? That is what I'll have to see. I will have to see Watkins 3 bonus. Let's see. Watkins could get 14 points here. That's amazing. I feel, honestly, I got to say, I do feel bad if you sold Watkins because, like, that's it's tough. You know, it's tough to watch a player in your team just do nothing, and then obviously you want to sell him for some reason. Wow. But yeah, let's go to Twitter real quick because I only barely saw the Chelsea lineup, and I want to see. Did they start Pulisic? I didn't see that, so let's check it out. But while that loads, things take forever to load while I'm streaming apparently. So 27 points right now. Obviously, it's going to be more once the Watkins assist comes in there. Next week, it's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, oh yeah. By the way, I didn't deadline stream, which obviously is a much better way of streaming. Like. Deadline streams are much more useful than like a stream now, but I just set my alarm for 4 p.m. instead of 4 a.m. So that's how it goes, I guess. Unfortunate. But for this next week, so given that I would like to have James, but obviously I sold him for Dyer. I'll take the matchup. I'm happy with the defense still, though. Soufal against Southampton. I think that's the one to bench so far. Soufal, by the way, if you're going to double game week, or if you're going to free hit in game week 18, I should say, you probably want to get Soufal in. I think he's nailed on. He gets attacking threat. He's got amazing fixtures. I mean, besides this Liverpool game, look at these fixtures. They're all, points worthy. Really, I'm very happy to have him, even though I'm not really planning on using my free hit at all. I may use it 19, but that's still up for debate. Calvert-Lewin's never leaving the team. I think for next week I could possibly hold, but guess what? Now the decision still remains about Watkins because these fixtures are not good, and Chelsea defend well. Obviously, their players aren't that hurt, so, but we'll see right now who exactly they're playing. I don't think I would have sold James if I thought he was going to start, but who knows? Maybe it will work out. James, I literally get him in 1 week. He doesn't play, and I just get rid of him, and now he's back apparently. So they did start Pulisic, and Giroud is benched again. I don't think it looks good for Werner. I think Giroud in the team generally helps the people around him. So I'm not necessarily a huge fan of a lot of these Chelsea players around the team when Abraham plays. I think Pulisic doesn't matter. He's always good. As you can see, I've been looking up Ross Barkley injury a lot recently. What's the other team? Oh, Arsenal. Is that their name? I forget. It's hard for me to remember little clubs and exactly what they're called, but Douglas, David Luiz, and William. So still no Aubameyang. Oh my gosh. Look at this team. Whew. All right, if you have Chelsea players, just go ahead and start celebrating. Zuma, 6 points. I'm glad he got 6 points. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Like, you can't be serious. Yeah, Chilwell and James are starting. It's insane. Is El Ghazi better than Grealish now? I mean, maybe. The thing is that El Ghazi's on penalties, right? But no, for me, it's still Grealish. When Barkley comes back, I'm worried that El Ghazi will lose his place. So El Ghazi's right-footed. Now, there's a lot of things to mention. Grealish, obviously, his best position is left wing. Barkley being out it changes where Grealish plays. If Barkley comes back in, will he come back in for Traore or will he come back in for El Ghazi? Who will they play on the right wing? Assuming that Barkley comes back in and starts, right? Like, maybe they just keep him on the bench. But if he does come back and start, I would assume Grealish goes to the left wing, and then we have a battle for the right wing spot between El Ghazi and Traore. Now, Traore can cut it on his left foot, and El Ghazi's just been playing better. But Traore's actually done well last 2 games. Let me take that back. The start of his first game, he looked very bad. But after that, he's actually done pretty well. So I don't really mind. I don't mind El Ghazi as a pick, but it's a little bit too risky for me. You have the penalties, though. That's the only thing that's nailed on. You think that's your best lineup for Chelsea? I don't necessarily disagree. I think that's pretty good. Pulisic and Abraham, I like it. The fact that James and Chilwell are starting is crazy to me. You played Zuma today instead of Kyle Walker-Peters. Okay. Oh, Martinez could still lose his clean sheet, by the way. But Crystal Palace, wow, they look bad. Yeah, how's it going, Nuclear Adams? Oh, yeah, I completely forgot. There's another game going. Oh, Southampton just scored. I just got the alert on my phone. I'm not sure who it is, but it's probably going to be Che Adams. Just a random guess. But, yeah, this upcoming Arsenal game, again, let's look at this team. So, how many of these players would start for Chelsea? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say 0. I'm going to say 0. I mean, you could say Tierney over Bellerin. You could say random things, but Lacazette's not. I mean, maybe Lacazette over Abraham. I personally think Abraham gets too much hate. I think he's good. I mean, fair enough. I know he has his weaknesses in terms of everything outside of just getting the ball in the box and finishing it, but I think his finishing is pretty good. He's shown that over 2 seasons now. I quite like the look of Abraham overall. I don't think any of these players really should play over Chelsea players. I mean, wow. What a bad team. The only hope Arsenal have going for them is that it's a rivalry, so anything could happen. Watkins is still not on 3 bonus. Are you kidding me? 2 bonus, obviously, I'll take it. I got the alert, but I didn't get the. Maybe it's being checked and it's probably going to be called back. I got the alert from Forza Football that Southampton scored, but who knows? Forza Football send them alerts right away. By the way, it still says 0-0 on their page, so maybe they're just tripping. Sometimes they do send some dumb alerts, so fake news. Maybe Xhaka. No. This Arsenal team is, I mean, who knows how they play? Maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need Smith Rowe to come in, but comparing the teams is absolutely crazy. Like, when you look at the teams on paper, like, the state of Arsenal is insane. This team, however, is actually pretty good. Is it a title contention worthy? I'm not necessarily convinced it is, but Havertz on the bench, Giroud on the bench, Jorginho on the bench. I mean, these are Rudiger. You got some quality players on the bench here. I mean, Hudson-Odoi obviously young, but James and Chilwell starting. That's huge news for a lot of people. Most people sold them, so it's really just bad news for everybody, I would assume. By the way, Fulham are not doing well. I mean, Fulham are actually doing well recently, so this Southampton result isn't too surprising. I don't have any of their players, so not a big deal for me. But so one thing I want to talk about, let's go to Mr. I think his name is Scarface. I'm not really familiar. Maybe like the season he really got popular was when I wasn't really on thing. Is it FPL Scarface? So, but he's like a respected in the know account. I think. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. So he keeps referencing this. So going to be quite a few unhappy FPL managers on Boxing Day once the Man City team news drops. This was December 24th, and I'm still thinking that he could be referencing the fact that Jesus and Walker have COVID, but quite a few unhappy FPL managers. Could he really just be referring to Jesus and Kyle Walker? Like, I'm not really sure if he would, yeah, he predicted the Salah bench tomorrow. I mean, that was kind of common, but anyway, I think he's been going for a while. He joined July 2020, so who knows? But then he posted this, and I don't think this is, considering this is the tweet right after his last tweet, and that the goal was disallowed by VAR, by the way, in the Fulham Southampton game. But considering that he tweets this, yeah, it was offside. He tweets this right after, or not right after, but after his Man City tweet. This doesn't appear to me like it's just referring to Kyle Walker, and let me follow him, by the way. I'm talking about him so much. Considering that he just posted, these emojis, this doesn't look like just Walker and Jesus. I mean, maybe it is, or maybe he's trolling, but I don't know, man. Who knows? If we see a KDB benching, then this would probably be what that refers to. Or it could be a deal where multiple people have COVID besides just the people that they mentioned, and maybe Pep's trying to keep it a secret that his best players have COVID. I don't know exactly why, but that's something that could be the case, and if it is, that will be huge, and I will be very happy. I don't have any Man City players, and I am quite worried that they'll kill Newcastle, so it'll be good not to have any of them. Yeah, the Man City game is today. The Man City game is, well, for me, it's at 3. We'll get the lineup in about 2 hours. 2 hours time, we get the lineup, so that will be interesting. I gotta say, it's surprised. I mean, you can really see how much Lampard wants to win the Arsenal game, considering that I don't know if there's risk or not, but assuming there's some risk involved with playing Chilwell and James, instead of just resting them for the game that literally comes 2 days later or 3 days later, 2 days. He wants to, losing to Arsenal now would look really bad, so I suppose that's the reason. But yeah, Man City played today, so that's one thing that, I don't know, there's suspense there, as I just probably said like 5 S's in a row. You have Mahrez. Any Arsenal player at free hit Gameweek 18, for me, it's got to be a no. So, well, I don't know, because there's not many options, right? So surely they're up. Oh, they play Crystal Palace. So if I was free hitting, the main issue would be, do you know who's going to start? Because obviously, like, by that point, things may have changed. Aubameyang may be a certain starter. I wouldn't want to spend too much money on them, but who would you get? Like, I guess if you knew Lacazette would start, that's not bad. That's not bad value. Maybe just like one defender at least. I mean, you would throw Bellerin. I would throw Bellerin there if I knew he was going to start. Maybe Tierney or somebody, but I don't think I would load down on them. I wouldn't really get like Willian, Pepe. Aubameyang maybe costs too much because you may want to get some Spurs and Man City that cost a good amount. But this is probably, I want to say it's the best matchup, but there's also this one. But Man City only had one good game all season. That's another story, though. But Arsenal, Crystal Palace, who knows what happens by this point. For now, I'm still leaning towards maybe 1 or 2, but don't go too expensive with it. I wouldn't want to have to trust Arsenal for the success of like your premiums or your team as a whole. So I would probably say, a couple players. That's actually, if they start playing well, that makes free hit 18 or free hit in that week a much better value. I was looking at chat and apparently Watkins missed a big chance. Yeah, that's I'm not surprised at all. If you notice, Watkins hasn't finished. Like, he literally he gets 3 assists. He can't score. He's missed 1 penalty and he's got 2 disallowed goals while he's been in my team. Never scored a goal for me. I probably shouldn't have got him in the first place, to be honest, because when you look back, I don't like getting players in that only do well in what I would consider to be weird games. Like the Liverpool game, for example, that's a weird game. That's not going to happen every day. The tactics of that game, the way Liverpool fell apart, is not normal. Most teams won't be holding that high of a line and just completely failing at it. And also, Villa just unrealistically finished everything. So that's a weird game. So basically writing that one off as an outlier, you can say, that's not really going to happen much often. And then he only did well in games where they killed their opponents. So I don't know. It didn't really look great. But ruling out this game right here, he really hasn't done much at all. So I'm very happy with 3 assists, even if he doesn't miss, 5 expected goals worth of chances. I'm just tuning into the game now. I wonder how much stoppage time would be added. I didn't see Ming. Did Mings get a second yellow or did he get a straight red? Because I saw it happen, but I didn't see what the ref pulled out. Because it was definitely a yellow card. Or at least I see why it was given. I really hope they can keep on to this clean sheet right now. Who was that? MacArthur hits it way over the bar. Oh, that was Joel Ward, of course. But I actually remember back in the day, Joel Ward scored a goal for my FPL team. Very nice. He scored that header. For some reason, he was in the box. But they're showing Watkins. They must be talking about him. They're probably talking about how he can't finish, but he can assist everything. So I wonder if Crystal Palace are ever going to play Riedewald. Does anybody know if Riedewald's ever going to make his place back in the starting lineup? Riedewald, I need him. I need him for game week 18. I'm not going to free hit as Villa take off. They take off Douglas Luiz. They keep subbing Riedewald in, so I'm just going to get 1 point for him in game week 18. Maybe I'll transfer him out for, I don't know, some other 4.5 option that plays. Maybe I can't get Douglas Luiz, actually. Got 3 Villa. Maybe I just get a random, but I'd really be making a transfer for 1 point. It's not really worth it. I'll just hope Riedewald gets me 1 point. I'll just move on. I'll probably get a red arrow this week, game week 18. But the current game week 15... I think we're going to be seeing green arrow, let's be honest. I think right now I'm probably on pace for halving the rank, probably up to 40k, but it's so early, it doesn't matter. Ooh, Benteke hits side netting. I don't really think he was going to score from that angle on his weak foot, but Aston Villa have been interesting. I guess they've taken advantage of their good matchups, but the way somehow, maybe it's a tactical thing, the way they defend really helps out the goalkeeper in terms of him getting FPL points, because he gets a lot of saves, but he doesn't quite get scored on. And that's a beautiful combination. This is going to be 4 clean sheets in a row, assuming he gets it. Is it going to be 4 clean sheets in a row? Yeah, that's insane. I'm so glad I kept him through his blank in game week 11. It's one of my best decisions, probably, because that would have cost me 20 points. A goalkeeper transfer, that would have been terrible. Only 30 seconds left in the game. I don't think the cash penalty or the cash call for a penalty was a penalty earlier. I'm not really convinced by it. Another shot goes way over the bar from Crystal Palace. Zaha's a good player. I'm surprised he's still on Crystal Palace. I think Eze's good, but I think Eze, I don't know, he needs a little something else in his game. He needs just a little more experience. And that's the game. The game's over. My stream's a little behind, but I got the alert. 3-0. That is absolutely amazing. So let's check. It's probably going to be down. It's probably going to be down, but let's go to livefpl.com. Let's check the rank, which is not always the best thing to do, but let's check it anyway. Roy looks like he's going to cry. Graphics showed he got a second yellow. Okay. Saka could be an option for the free hit, but I think that what the fuck's going on here? Anyway, I think are you ever really going to be confident that he starts? I don't know about Saka. Like, it would be tough. I wouldn't want to get him in and then have him benched. Gabriel has good goal threat, I think, but again, I don't know. Is he going to ever get benched? Jeez. Let's see if I can remember my team ID. Oh, here it is. Something went wrong. Of course it did. Of course it did. The game just ended. This is why you always, if you want to check your rank, you always do it like right before the full-time whistle. You can't wait till afterwards, or else it's never going to work. Because everybody has the same idea, and they go flood the site. But, you know, credit to Live FPL, though. They've done a good job at, like, having the light version of the page. You can't see all the information, but it allows you to get something in there. Is this me? Oh, yeah, it is. Well, it's all messed up, by the way. The graphics. Whoa. Can't even see the live points and all that. Let me refresh again. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think Fulham have a good chance of staying up. Yes, Sheffield United are definitely relegated, I would say. Who knows who else gets relegated, though? It's too early to call. Crystal Palace, the way they're looking, could be relegating. Fulham have some players with talent to score, and that makes a big difference. And now that they've shown some stability defensively, it's kind of promising. I like Lookman. I think Lookman's a decent FPL option, by the way. He significantly outperforms, what's his name? Souček in terms of expected goals and expected assists, and the fact that he's an attacking player makes a big difference too. I like Lookman. The fact that he was able to bounce back for that is a big deal. Michael Svedden, best goalkeepers for double game week 19. Let's take a look. I want to say the West Ham goalkeeper Fabianski right away, just because I guess he's a little too expensive though. But matchups are obviously going to be important. So if you're free hitting this week, as I may do, if you're looking for, if you have the money at the time, I mean, who knows what happens. If you're making a transfer to do it, like as part of your permanent team, I probably wouldn't do this, but you could go with Mendy. I would look for a cheaper option. I think Meslier is a safe way to go. You get the Leeds matchups here. That's probably who I would go with, actually. If not him, if you're going to free hit, I would say Fabianski or Mendy maybe, but even then you could put Meslier in there. The Leeds goalkeeper. Who are the other options? I think that's really it. You could always go with a Leicester player, but their keeper's too expensive. So defenders, Leicester, but other than that, I would go with Meslier. You just get the cheapest one that has good matchups, and that would be Meslier. So I think that's simple enough. Let's see. Yeah, McCarthy owners. Man, I wish Fulham would have scored, taking away all those Kyle Walker-Peters and McCarthy points. Let's see. So, any chance of Watkins getting any more bonus? Okay, yeah, Watkins not even in the bonus. 3 assists. That's amazing. That shows how many chances he missed. Because when you miss big chances, you lose bonus points. Yep. I mean, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I said he was on track to get 14 points. I thought he was going to get 3 bonus. Obviously, that didn't happen. But regardless, I'm very happy with keeping Watkins. Not for this long necessarily, but this week's decision was good. I don't know about all of these weeks' decisions to keep him, but I would do the same thing every time, given the fixtures. I would never change it because I had other things to deal with. And in general, I'm going to keep. If I get somebody in, I'm going to keep them for the good fixtures. Here we go. Here's the rank. So 40K right now. But where's the amount? Oh, it's live. So I can't see like the average amount of people that have played for other people. That was a lot of people in that, but like I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 players go. I think that's about average right now. Last I checked, it was like 3.96. So I'm right on pace with average in terms of plays, but I've got a huge green arrow right now, which is nice. Maybe I should have captained Fernandez, but again, I would make that same decision every time. I can't really captain somebody against Leicester right now. They're looking pretty good. Oh yeah, Johnston's also an option for double game week. But it is good to like put some planning into goalkeepers because I feel like a lot of people just sort of view them as all the same, which I do that sometimes. Starting off the season, I think it's hard to pick a keeper. I say just pick a 4.5 and hope for the best at the start of the season, like initial draft, because it can be kind of hard. I wouldn't really, but I say that, but the season I finished 50th overall, I did start off with Ederson. It worked okay. He got me an assist, for example, which is never going to happen, but, I don't know. I feel like I make better decisions now than I did then, but that's the part luck plays anyway. Yeah, it's actually crazy that Watkins doesn't have bonus. I mean, 11 points here, no bonus, 3 assists. I can't think of a time somebody's gotten 3 assists and not gotten bonus, or three attacking returns and 0 bonus. That's absolutely insane. That's how bad a finisher Watkins is recently. I've actually watched his all goals for was it Brentford in the championship when he was like top scorer last season, and he looked like a solid finisher. Obviously, it's all goals, but it doesn't show how many chances he missed. He was a better finisher than Bamford. Bamford missed like the most big chances, so I don't know what's happened. But hey, I'll take the points. 11 points. I'll take that every day of the week, considering that he was an option to sell. I can't be happier with that. Like, he outscored Martinez for the first time in forever. Who knows? Maybe they'll throw Martinez an extra bonus point. But yeah, this is an amazing start to the week. So Soufal is actually potentially an issue because his wife had a baby yesterday, which is the most interesting thing ever. Like, how in modern day we're like keeping up with their spouses and their status in terms of when the baby comes out, so we'll know if they're like going to be with the hospital, so at the hospital or whatever. But I think it's the game's tomorrow, right, for West Ham, so I think he's got a pretty good chance of playing. If he doesn't, though, I get the 1 point off the bench from Justin, so I really want him to play. Martinez does get bonus right now. Martinez is on 2 bonus. He got just enough for the 2 save points and 2 bonus as well. Martinez, fantastic. Over the past 4 weeks, he's probably outscored De Bruyne, hasn't he? If Mars doesn't get picked, then I don't want him to come in as a sub. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm glad I got rid of Mahrez too. As I said earlier, who knows what happens with that Man City team, but I don't think Pep trusts Mahrez at all in terms of to be a consistent starter. Like, even last week, he could have scored last week, so perhaps you could say it was a bad decision for me to sell him, given, like, if I saw the chances he had, like, obviously, like, if you just showed me clips of the future where you saw me this positions where he was about to shoot, and then obviously, like, you cut away where he missed, I would have kept him on my team if I knew he was going to get those chances, but he missed anyway. But I don't know, man. I think because I had him, like, at the end of last season after the restart, I know, like, when he's sort of in bad form, because he had that midweek game where he just got destroyed, and when Pep's not confident in him, it doesn't matter if he gets benched for 90 minutes one week. He's not like a guaranteed rotation where you can be like, oh, he's always gonna have a place in the team if he gets rested. Like, I don't know, man. It's not ideal owning Mahrez, but he's got high upside, and I think he's a good player. But it's just Pep, man. It's just Pep. Yeah, I haven't owned Kyle Walker-Peters all season, I don't think. He's been a great option, though. He's been a great option. Oh, shit. Should you keep DCL? You got him for 7.0. I would keep Calvert-Lewin 100% of the time. It does depend on your strategy a little bit. So Everton play game week 18 and 19. That fits my strategy, so that works. But if you're planning on free hitting game week 18, then perhaps you get somebody that doubles game week 19. But I'm gonna go ahead and say, me personally, I would never sell Calvert-Lewin. I'm unless like he significantly loses form or something. I have no intention to sell. I did the same thing as you. I got him at 7.0. I started game week 1 with him, and I don't really see the reason to sell him. The main reason for that is he gets so many chances. I mean, you can see he's first in terms of threat. If we go to understat, you'll see that his expected goals is good. He's always in the box to finish off the chances for Everton. He's not like a Watkins who occasionally just becomes, I don't want to say creative, but he's like Calvert-Lewin's always the finishing piece to the move, it seems like. Whereas Watkins, that just isn't the case. I don't know why I'm even comparing him to Watkins, but you get the point. So if we just expected sort. That's the new term. So Calvert-Lewin, 10 expected goals this season. It doesn't really get better than that. Vardy, obviously a lot of penalties, but I would assume if you just do expected goals from open play, Calvert-Lewin dominates. And look at how far Vardy and Calvert-Lewin are ahead of these other guys, including Kane. Now, they have 2 extra games, so that is important. But so let's go to expected goals per 90 minutes. A lot of the no minutes guys are up here, but Calvert-Lewin's still on the first page. He's a fantastic option. I wouldn't see any reason to sell him. I know it's Man City next, and I know it may not fit the strategy, but he's been too good. Everton are a good team. Let's keep that in mind. Like they'll score a lot of goals. He'll be involved at some point. And these aren't bad matchups. Man City, who knows what happens. Not great, obviously, but after that, West Ham, Wolves, Villa, he could easily keep up his little form of just getting one attacking return in each game. I mean, he made it through these matchups. He made it through Chelsea, Leicester, and Let me rephrase. He made it through Chelsea and Arsenal. I mean, Chelsea and Leicester. I'm all over the place. And he got returns in both. So I think, for me, I would never sell Calvert-Lewin unless things change more than they have. As long as the returns keep coming, I'm keeping him. It's not necessarily the best idea to base a player's future points off of points they've scored in the past because, you could argue that like shots and expected goals and things like that are better indicators as well as just like watching them. But will I stream the Chelsea game? Well, I'm not going to stream the Chelsea game. That would be what they call illegal. But I may actually. I'm considering it. It would be fun to watch Arsenal just get destroyed, I guess. Yeah, I may. I kind of want to stay all the way until the Man City lineup is announced, but I may have to take a break. Until then. But hey, it's Boxing Day. Who knows? I'm planning on benching Wilson next game week, and then he has decent fixtures, but no double game week. He does. 8.2 million if I sell him. Oh man, Wilson. Newcastle are a hard one to predict. I don't feel like I can predict them well at all. I don't think anybody can. Yeah, so tough matchup for Newcastle. Who they play? Leicester? Oh, it's not great, is it? I like Wilson. I like the fact that he's on penalties, but this is not good. He fits my strategy. Let me go back. What did you say? Yeah, okay. If you want the double game week, I mean, he does play Sheffield. 18. I think it's perfectly fine to sell him because look at these weeks, right? If you get Bamford for these weeks, I know you said you have 8.2. Do you have Bamford? I should probably ask that first. But if you don't have Bamford, I think Wilson to Bamford makes sense just for the next 3. If you have Bamford, then there's not any great options. That's one reason why I'm not sure if I'm going to sell Watkins because there's not amazing options to get in besides Bamford, and he doesn't fit my strategy for blank game week. So I have to decide how important that is, and that fits into Kobe's question. Am I keeping Watkins? Oh, you have Bamford and DCL. Oof. Well, let's really think about this. So Wilson against Man City. After Man City, Liverpool. Injured defenders. I don't see Newcastle being able to counter them. I mean, the only argument for it is the fact that there could be rotation and players could be tired, so anything could happen. If you take that approach, then you could almost justify keeping any player though. Who would be the alternative? Because if there's really nobody great to get, then it's not worth the transfer. Let's just look at all the forwards. So one player I forgot about was Che Adams, and that may be the way to go, even though apparently he did terribly today from the highlight clips that I saw. So Adams, he has the double game week if that's what you want. Okay, fine matchup, game week 16. Game week 17 is Liverpool again, though. I don't necessarily think that's worth a transfer because Wilson's got penalties, so I don't know. He may just edge it on Adams. But I would say Southampton's the better team. So that's a potential move. It fits your strategy. It's not ideal, though. Here's an interesting one. The issue here is he going to play regularly? It looks like he may. But look at these fixtures. Double's not amazing, but Leeds is this week, but Sheffield United, Fulham's not bad, but I know it's Burnley and they can't score, but Wood would be an option. You have 8.1. You can't quite afford Martial. Don't get Cavani. Abraham. I couldn't trust him enough, I don't think. Not the best matchups either. You know, I think for me it would be Wood or nothing. I may just take the chance and keep Wilson here, actually. I think it makes the most sense if it fits your strategy. It doesn't fit it, though. You know what? I think I would sell. And just hope. You may have to take a risk here with somebody that you may not want too much. It's not going to be ideal. You may just go with Adams and just hope Southampton do well, which is not a bad hope. Against the big teams, I think they can score some goals. Man City, they did pretty well. They had some chances to score, I felt like. Manchester United, they scored 3 against Villa, who were playing well at the time. I mean, they scored 4 against Villa, actually. You know, they scored 2 against Tottenham early on in the season. You may just have to sort of bite the bullet and get somebody that's not an amazing option, but who knows? Maybe that's a reason to not make a transfer if you're not too excited about who you're bringing in. I think I would find a way to sell him, though. Rodrigo could be decent as well, yeah. I wish he played a little bit more advanced, but yeah, I'm not sure. So back to the Watkins question. Am I going to be keeping Watkins? So what's the next matchup? Is it Tottenham? No, it's not Tottenham. It's Chelsea. Oh, it's a terrible matchup. You know, it depends on what happens, obviously, because injuries and all that. Watkins isn't a great finisher, and I've just came to the conclusion that he's terrible to predict. And given the strikers that I just looked at, for me, it's going to be the toughest decision, and I can't decide yet. I got to see what Bamford does. I got to see how that all plays out, because I get this matchup here against Tottenham. It's a game week 18. It's not great, but it's a game, and as I said, Watkins apparently is unpredictable. So maybe these bad matchups aren't actually that bad. But 16-17 Chelsea, Manchester United. Bamford plays West Brom and then Spurs. Oh, that's not great, actually. Spurs isn't great. But it's still Bamford. Like, could Bamford over those 2 weeks benefit me more than whatever Watkins does in this week? You know, I think it's up for grabs enough where I can easily say that keeping Watkins makes sense. And that's unfortunate to say. But this matchup here, maybe I do get Bamford for this one matchup, but you know, it may be a case where I just keep Watkins until game week 18. And then once I have him for game week 18, you know what happens? These fixtures here that aren't bad. So, you know, it's very possible that I just keep Watkins for a while. It's not ideal. If I don't have any other moves to make, I could just bring in Bamford and then just get rid of him for somebody else that plays. But right now, I got to say, I'm leaning towards just keeping him. But this team right here, I'm not really seeing any obvious transfers. To make it interesting, I could do things like this. Could put Soufal in for Watkins or Calvert-Lewin. I'm not a fan of ever benching Calvert-Lewin. I don't think I would ever do that, though, because the Southampton matchup isn't that good for Soufal. So I would just hope Watkins has another big game. Watkins 3 assists, close to a goal again. He had the shot that was rebounded that he got the first assist from. So I think he'll feel pretty good about his performance. I'm just trying to assess his confidence. He's got to be happy with how he played, I think, besides the big missed chances he's going to be upset about. But I think he'll have enough confidence where, I don't know. I don't see him taking his chances against Chelsea. I think these are blanks here. Tottenham maybe, but Again, it's not ideal, but who am I going to bring in instead? If I go back to the transfers page, because Watkins just made everything really tough considering that he did well. Still can't finish, though. Like, I said I had issues with Riedewald, so, you know, maybe let's say if I think Brewster is going to start. I mean, again, these strikers aren't great. So if I go Brewster, he's probably just going to get 1 point like Riedewald in game week 18 anyway. But that gives me 6.3, and I don't really like the cheap options here either. But there are some quality players, I would say, like Neto. Still not great matchups, but here they're pretty decent. So I think Neto's a good player. I would be interested in getting them. I think he'll take his chances when he gets them. I could get Ward-Prowse, but I'm not stupid, so I won't do that. Neto and Podence could be the way to go instead of that combination, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust him that much. Is Watkins really that bad, though? Is he really that bad? Is he really that bad just to own him? I think I'll just keep him in hope, but I don't really have transfers to make, so are you making FPL tips video soon? Can I talk about your channel? Oh, yeah, sure, man. That's fine. One thing I would say is that I've been, well, not last couple of days, but like on my drive all the way back down to where I'm at now, long drive, I was thinking more about SEO because search engine optimization. I don't really know much about it, but I would recommend just for I don't want to pull up YouTube, but it's called TubeBuddy. It's a Chrome extension. I would recommend downloading that. It can help you with like SEO and also like look up some YouTube videos about like how to get like in the search. I haven't been doing great. I'm learning about it as well, but like the reason I say this is because like let's say you label and you tag your video like FPL tips. Like a lot of people do that. Like a lot of the big YouTubers do that. So you're not really gonna rank in those videos. Like if somebody searches FPL tips, like you're gonna get like all the big FPL. Oh, that's good that you have it. Like you're gonna get all the big FPL YouTubers over you. So my personal advice, I mean, unless you think you can outrank them, is to like find a more specific search. Like I don't know, maybe somebody searches whatever it is. Like you can use that tool. It's great that you have it, and try to find something that's a good search tool and just try to rank in something. I mean, it's tough. Like, but yeah, of course you can mention my channel. I just wanted to mention that because I found that very interesting when I downloaded that plug. It's so helpful because I don't know what I'm doing. Best Chelsea attacker, if any. So I'm gonna say, wow, because they all have their issues. Werner's way too expensive. Giroud and Abraham are the best, but they can be rotated. I'm going to say Pulisic. I mean, I like him. At that price point, it's an issue because I would always personally think, oh, I can just go up and get Son for that much more cheaper. So I think Pulisic because of his quality. If not him, Abraham or Giroud. Yeah, I assume you wouldn't call it FPL tips, but I just mean like find like a something else. But yeah, how to get more FPL points, I think that one works. That's a specific search that I don't think a lot of people have been labeling. I think I'm going to be like, I didn't do it on this one, but I think I'm going to try like labeling my videos, like tagging it and putting in the description like the word strategy, because I don't think a lot of people necessarily, like proportionally, I don't think a lot of people use the word strategy in like their labels, but I think it's searched a good amount based on what I saw. So I think strategy. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of getting rid of Mahrez for Souček this week, and then next week use two free transfers to bring in Vardy and Reece for Antonio and Zuma. Well, I like getting rid of Mahrez, obviously. It's tough to know when to get rid of him, but at some point you just have to do it, I think. Souček's always not bad. I think I would personally go Lookman still, but of course they're both fine. Vardy and Reece for oh, you still have Antonio. Yeah, that's funny. That always makes me laugh. I think I like it. I mean, getting rid of Zuma may not be too necessary, but I get that you need to do it for the money, I assume. Yeah, I mean, obviously just wait because we could see some injury with Reece maybe, but I like Vardy in. Vardy in sounds good to me. So I think, given that that's like the key to this thing, it sounds good to me. I'm trying to think of what else I would do. I wouldn't really touch Aguero right now. The Reece and Zuma move, I mean, I did something similar to get money, so it is what it is. I like Vardy in, so I can't say I have any issue with that. The 2 free transfers, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I like Vardy in. Is Rafinha nailed on? I think so. The good thing is that if you're thinking about bringing him in, okay, well, maybe not upcoming soon. Like, there's a lot of rotation going on potentially, but what's his name? Bielsa is very forthcoming with team news. So wait to see what he says, if you can get anything out of him, and then maybe we, just wait for him to say something, because he will be pretty honest about what's going to happen. I mean, he literally revealed his entire lineup in one of these recent press conferences. So I don't mind Rafinha. Let's look at their game versus Newcastle, and let's see exactly what's going on with Rafinha. I think he's a solid option. I think he's a good player. I am worried if he's a player that won't quite translate into FPL points. Now, his price is fine. You can't really go too wrong with a player at his price, but there are some cheap options out there. So against Newcastle, this is a good matchup, so I think it's worth looking at. Did they play him? I just can't see. Yeah, so 7 shots, and this is, I think I remember this, that's a lot. But this low expected goals, to me, if I remember this game correctly, I do remember him, and I've seen this before in the past, like the goal he scored this season. He takes a lot of shots from outside the box. So you are dependent on his quality of shooting. So it's not like he's getting tap-ins like Calvert-Lewin or Vardy, which they all have their quality of their own, obviously, but just an example. He takes a lot of shots. So right away, that makes him somewhat useful for FPL, but I think he's pretty nailed on. He established himself as a pretty good player in France. I think they signed him for a reason. I think he's going to play most games. I think he's as nailed on as you can get at that price. Maybe besides Suchek, but 7 shots looks good. I'm still not too sold on him as a great option, but he's certainly not bad. Like, the way he loves to shoot, I would like to see him, just get in better positions a little, some more, instead of, he seems like he always has to do a lot of work to get the FPL points. Like, he'll start off in just a neutral position, like not necessarily a great position to get points. Like, he gets the ball outside of the box, and then he does something nice to come close, but it's always like he's having to work for his points really hard, as opposed to I'm trying to think of a good example. I guess Watkins is a decent example. Like, you see how many chances he gets where you're like, oh, he should have had points. He should have had points. And now, of course, he almost stumbles into 3 assists. I think it's just how the team is set up. But it's also different when you're a center striker. You find that a lot with a lot of midfielders. But Grealish is the same. Like, Grealish, if you watch most games, you're like, oh, he could have had so many points. And that's the kind of players I want. So I'm personally not too interested in Rafinha. But I think Rafinha is pretty nailed. I think he's pretty nailed. And at the price, like I said, it's not bad. Yeah. I mean, when things go wrong with your FPL team, it can be hard to get rid of a player like Antonio. So, Bielsa said he won't reveal his team. I forgot about that, because didn't he get criticism from the fans? I forgot, but that's unfortunate. So, the left back for Chelsea, Chilwell's playing. Yeah, Chilwell and Reece James are starting. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. It's absolutely crazy. Like, that was the last thing I expected. I had no idea that was coming. That stunned me. Yeah. Chelsea game starts soon. It does start soon. So how's everybody week started off? Havertz is on the bench. How is it? How many points everybody got so far? If you got some Aston Villa players, you probably got some points besides Grealish. It's kind of unfortunate that he didn't do anything. Just to advertise more tools. I don't know why I keep doing this, but if you ever want to just find somebody else's points, you can literally go to premierfantasytools.com You don't even have to know their ID. You just have to know their name. And you can just go to live FPL rank. And you can literally just type in their name. And assuming like you can just like find how good they're doing. So like, because I like to do this sometimes with like other content creators or people I'm just interested in, like if I know they've done weird moves. So like, for example, if I think this is probably like if I just go blues, like if that's what you have your name as, it'll come up. So there's 2 here. So I don't know which one it is. I'm gonna assume it's this one, but I don't know. But yeah, so if you ever want to stalk anybody's rank, you can just go premierfantasytools.com, live FPL rank, and check it out. Okay, yeah, this is the right one, I think. So yeah, you're doing well. So yeah, I can just stalk you guys. We got the Wilson on the bench. Reece James on the bench. That's interesting. Obviously, I don't blame you. Got some decent matchups here. Besides Justin, I'd say that's probably a mistake to bench him. Like, just play him in case he plays. But I did that last season one time. I was upset. I was like, why did I bench him? But Justin, I felt like he could have had some attacking returns, to be fair. Let's see. What's his name? I can't remember his name. I wanted to look up how Late Riser's doing. I know he hasn't had a great season. I can't think of his name. Whatever. It's always interesting to seeing like the people that aren't necessarily doing well, see how well they bounce back. Yep, I can only just go stalk people. I got a couple people I stalk. Some people, never mind, I won't say that. Some people I want to fail. Blake knows who I'm talking about, right, Blake?
For sure.
You know what I'm talking about.
For
sure. Yeah, you could have started. Oh, check Magnus Carlsen. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Oh, man. Yeah, let's go Magnus Carlsen. He had a great season last season. I haven't seen him at all. Has he posted about FPL or anything? But Magnus Carlsen. Is that? I assume he just has his name. So my prediction for the Chelsea game, just before it starts, let me try to give a realistic prediction and not just assume that Arsenal is like gonna get destroyed. But I think they'll lose. I mean, with Chilwell and Reece James starting especially, I could see Arsenal scoring. Like, I definitely could. I'm going to just go with I'm going to go with 3-1. I mean, it's kind of too high scoring. I don't like predicting a game that's 4 goals in it, but I think 3-1 makes sense. I think Chelsea are going to be able to get in behind Arsenal. I think be a little bit too aggressive defensively. But who knows exactly what happens. Okay, there's way too many Magnus Carlsens, but let me continue to type it so it's spelled like this. I'm pretty sure. You know what? I have no idea which one's him. I can't even. I don't want to pull up some team and just Magnus Carlsen. If I see his name, I could remember because I saw him last season. I don't remember what his team name is though. So, okay, we'll just pull up the first one. We'll just attack a random Magnus Carlsen. Okay, well that's definitely not Magnus Carlsen. It's definitely not Magnus Carlsen because he's not from Poland. 4-1 Chelsea, I could see that easily. I really hope Zuma scores. I'm still not expecting him to like continue to keep up his goal threat. He's good at heading, don't get me wrong, but the crosses still have to come to him. It's depending on him like getting the crosses in the box. It's depending on them getting corners. You said it's Freaking FPL. Is that his team name? I'm confused. This is PremierFantasyTools.com. Oh, I actually, let me promote my own. So I wrote these articles. They probably have typos. I got to be honest here. I feel like I messed some of them up, but it's probably like the way that we promoted them. Who should you go with this week for the next few weeks? De Bruyne or Son? So I personally like Son because of the value. If you can use the extra money, I like Son. That's why I have him over De Bruyne. He's just cheaper. But, the fixtures are too good. For me, it's Son all the way. I mean, you may not know, but I don't mind Man City. Obviously, they're great options, all that good stuff. But they still only had one impressive game this season. Like, they beat Burnley 5-0. They beat Sheffield United 1-0. They beat Arsenal 1-0. They drew with Leeds 1-1. I mean, Man City should be scoring more against Leeds. They beat Fulham 2-0. Drew 0-0 with Man United. West Brom 1-1. I mean, when are we going to see them really bring out all the goals? It's always possible. Any week it's possible. But when you have to deal with high prices and rotation, I think you go with Son. That's my personal opinion. It could backfire heavily. I mean, whenever you go against a Man City player, you have to be aware that it's, it could, but the money's there. For me, I've been going against Man City almost all season. I haven't had De Bruyne all year. I've had Mahrez at one point, and then I sold him quickly. That's where I stand on it. So I'm going to say Son every time, but, good fixtures too. Son does have low quantity of chances a lot of times, and it's the one issue he has, but, it is what it is. So these are I actually quite like these articles that I did. So check out the FPL Psychology section of Premier Fantasy Tools. I think they're pretty helpful, actually. FPL Psychology on PremierFantasyTools.com. So the Chelsea game is live. By the way, I didn't bring my laptop charger, which is what I'm streaming off. Oh, Magnus Carlsen's 30K. That's nice. Okay, 76862. I'll have to pull that back up then. Let me also pull up the game on my phone. But yeah, Magnus Carlsen is I'm somewhat into chess. I haven't played it in a long time, but he's a great player. I like Hikaru more though, because of all of his work on Twitch and everything and being really interactive with the community. Pretty cool. But Magnus Carlsen's obviously a beast. So let's go to 76862. Thank you. If it will register my clicks, 76862. I've seen your vid, so I was expecting that you'd rather go with Son, but thanks a lot, man. Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be Son for me. With the fixtures, I mean, I don't know. When you're deciding with two premiums like that, it's always a tough decision because they can always do well. So, who knows? Of course, he's doing well again. He has two Man City defenders. They've been doing well. Not a fan of the Bowen pick. That's the only one I really have a problem with, I would say. So, obviously he's doing well. So, that's nice. Salah captain as everybody went. No Watkins. Who wouldn't have Watkins? Are you kidding me? Watkins is the best player in the world. I mean, it's insanity. Everybody has Ollie Watkins in their team. But this is a pretty good team. Triple Man City, so it's a lot different than mine, but the basics are still there. Calvert-Lewin, Grealish, Salah, Fernandez. But he's got some money in defense back here. I quite like the team, though. Fair play to him for doing well again. Who's he got on the bench? He's got a terrible bench. Has he wildcarded yet? I mean, it doesn't really look like it, but it's impossible to tell. I would assume he probably has, but yeah, fair play to him. Let's go back to the team. Let's go back to the points and let's watch this Chelsea game. Oh man. I'm not too confident in Salah captain, by the way. Like, I know I should be, but West Brom have impressed me a little bit too much defensively. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to captain Salah against West Brom. I trust Salah too much. Like, I sort of put my feelings aside for Salah. Like, I'm just like, you know what? It's dumb. I feel dumb when I don't feel like I trust Salah because I have to. You just have to trust Salah. If you captain Bruno, though, that's fair play. So, Pablo Mari. I can't say I've ever seen Pablo Mari play. I remember when Arsenal signed Xhaka, I actually thought it was going to be a pretty good signing. Hasn't really worked out. I wonder how many of these Arsenal players would start on, like, Crystal Palace. I mean, obviously some of them would, I assume. But you could make the argument that a lot of these players would be benched. I mean, Lacazette would play over Benteke. Most of them would play, I think, but I don't know. I think I probably prefer Van Aanholt over Tierney. So there's one. I probably shouldn't use the worst team in the league right now that just conceded 10 goals in 2 games. But you get the point. Arsenal, man. Jeez. Can't be playing Pablo Mari and Xhaka. And I've never been a fan of the defensive mids they've been getting recently. I mean, come on. El Nini. Torreira had his little stretch there, but El Nini and Xhaka, I mean, that's the best you got. You're going up against Conte right now. You're definitely not surviving that. Mason Mount gets a lot of hate, by the way. I don't know how you Chelsea fans feel about that, but football Twitter is a dumb place. Like, everybody hating on Mount, all the I don't know, the dumb side of Chelsea fans hating on Mount. Shout out to Harry Saratov, by the way. He always makes fun of the dumb Mount haters. Mount's a solid player. You know, there's nothing wrong with Mount, but geez, the amount of hate he gets is insane. But I don't think people really watch the games to hate on Mount like that. But it'll be interesting to see how high of a line Arsenal hold. That's the one thing I'm interested to see, because I feel like if they hold this high line, they could be punished by Werner. That's the only way Werner really gets a chance. I mean, of course, he always has a chance. He's a decent enough player, but he costs so much. Like, he's a 9 million forward. Like, playing left wing, is always going to be a no for me. That's the reason I never really messed with Aubameyang in previous seasons, because he was listed as a forward and he played left wing. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to get past that. I know he still did well, but he was hard to predict. I don't know. He just wasn't. He was never my player. I mean, I remember a time when I thought Holding would never play again for Arsenal. I thought they were going to replace him. You know, I mean, but that's the way it goes with Arsenal. I've always felt like they could have improved in certain ways. Did you? Okay, but back to football Twitter. It's really dumb. Another thing that's dumb about, like, I see it a lot in football Twitter too. Like, I say football Twitter. I don't really like that label, but if you know the kind of accounts I'm talking about. The kind of accounts that would post a period in a reply and say, or just like try to ratio people and love the idea of ratioing. Like, what are we doing? You want to ratio somebody? I mean, some good posts are ratios. Like, when the reply gets more comments than an initial post. Like, if you have a good comeback or something like that, then tremendous. But just ratioing for the sake of ratio, like, who cares? I don't get why it's a big thing. Abraham, he almost got that shot off. Like, that example, right? Oh, Conte, what an amazing interception. Like, I really love watching Conte. The constant running. But I was going to say, like, Abraham, that chance there he had, that doesn't register in expected goals. But that's the kind of thing that him and like Calvert-Lewin, they get plenty of those chances where they don't quite get the shot off. And if you watch the game, you're able to pick up on it, but stats don't show that. And that's why I like Abraham in the box a lot. Same thing as Calvert-Lewin. Jeez, Rob Holding. That's funny. I mean, we got Thiago Silva versus Rob Holding here. Big game, big London matchup here. Ooh, watch out, everybody. It's intense stuff. Oh yeah, you want to see a wild card draft? So it's always tough to do one when you're not emotionally invested in it. So I can't say I would be honest. So I'll make this wild card assuming. How would I do a wild card now? You know, a wild card now doesn't really fit my style. It would be too focused on the blank and double game weeks. But so you're activating yours this week, Sultan. What's your blank and double game week plan? That's what I would want to know, so I could build a wild card around that. I have time, and I could make it around. I could make it based on that. What do I think about El Ghazi? Well, assuming you meant El Ghazi, I think he's too much of a rotation risk for me personally. I think when Barkley comes back, I mentioned it earlier, like it's potentially the case that El Ghazi may lose his spot. But, you know, if he plays, I like him. Villa have shown that they spread the ball out in terms of their goals. Him being on penalties is a big deal. I feel like he has that nailed down for sure when he does play. So he's going to get minutes. I'm not too sure he'll start every game. But I can't say I would make myself get him in personally. I can't say I could quite pull the trigger on it because I'm worried about that rotation risk with Barkley coming back. It's unfortunate because he could be such a great FPL option, but I just can't quite advise it. Yeah, that's probably the best thing I could say about El Ghazi. But yeah, I'll make a wild card draft. I just need to know what like the blank and double game week strategy would be. I think I would probably, I don't know. I would just focus on being the best players. I wouldn't focus too much on like the peripheral like blank and double game week stuff. But so I think the key players, I can't say I trust Lewis to play now. We'll see what happens. Sufal. Let's make a team as if you're free hitting game week 18. Does that make sense? Yeah, we'll just do that. So, if you're free hitting game week 18, I wouldn't have Dyer. I wouldn't have Justin. Would I have Justin? Maybe, maybe not. He's not nailed on though. A Chelsea defender would probably be there. You know, I honestly don't know. I don't even think I could honestly make a free hit wild card team here. But I can mention a lot of good options. So I think for me personally, I would keep Calvert-Lewin no matter what. I think if I wild card, I may just make a team where I wouldn't make a chip, where I wouldn't use a chip. Like just make a balanced team, probably 8 or 9 single game week players, and then make 1 or 2 transfers over to the double game week once that week is here. And just try to get as many points as possible without using a chip. But so maybe Dyer is a good option if you're going to do that. Justin's solid. The defenders are tough. You know, I would be tempted to get three non-doubles, and then I would get maybe 2 West Ham defenders. Obviously, I've doubled up on West Ham before. I quite like the look of it because they have good fixtures. They really do. So maybe Ogbonna, I would probably go Balbuena instead, because he's cheaper. So we have Balbuena here. And then who would this... I mean, you could go with Lewis. Who else is there? There's Keane. Keane's kind of expensive, though. Maybe you take a punt on Holgate because he plays that week. I mean, Holding. Man, I think I would... It sucks. I wouldn't want to spend the money on Keane, but... For now, let's throw Keane in there. I don't think this is a bad team. If I was you, I'd go Zuma down to like James just because it's cheaper. So let's do that. For me, would it be cheaper though? I think so. Let's go James. As long as he stays fit or whatever. So goalkeepers, it's just up to your strategy, I suppose. I would just stick with Martinez, me personally, because I already have him. A little bit of value in him, maybe. I don't really remember. Redewall would be out. Grealish may have to go. There's a lot of tough decisions. I'm glad I don't have the wild card now. And then there's the whole Watkins thing. I think it makes the most sense just to get Bamford. I think that's a safe way to go. Bamford comes in. Would I get rid of Grealish? I quite like this right here. Now, one thing that would make everything interesting is if you go Vardy over Kane, but I don't think I could do that given the fixtures. You know, it would be really similar to the team I have now, and that's one reason I'm not too set on doing anything crazy. So I would probably end up with something like this. For me, it would just be a lot of changes in defense. Now, you could make a lot of changes if you change price points. So Grealish could be like, you could go down to a Neto or something. So if you do Grealish to Neto, that gives you 1.7. And what does this really do? Well, more depth is what I would say it does. You could go Neto and Podence, or Neto and Lookman, or Neto and Souček. But I would like this defense if I was wildcarding. And if you could make it a little bit more flexible to your own scenario. But I think I would look at double West Ham defense if it fits your strategy because of this. Like, if you're free hitting game week 18, like, double West Ham defense looks like the way to go. And I would do it again like I did earlier this season. I don't trust them to keep clean sheets, but they're so cheap. I mean, you know, it's not a bad option, obviously. You can't go too wrong with it, I don't think. So that's basically what I would do. I don't think I'd make big changes anyway. Just because I have Son doesn't mean I should get rid of Kane or whatever. You know, like, I look at the players independently. I'm not really focused on you know, I get the sentiment, but it's like if I think Kane's a better option than Vardy, then I'm gonna get Kane. I don't care if I already have 6 Tottenham players. I'll get the 7th one if I think they're a better option than the alternatives. If that comes with risk, it comes with risk. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I make decisions independently, or at least I try to, because I think that's the best way to do it. Analyzing each player individually and not worrying about like how many eggs are in each basket, because you know you want more eggs in a basket if that basket is safer than other baskets, or if that basket's better, then put all your eggs in there. Don't intentionally put your eggs in a worse basket just because you want to be nice to the basket. You know, you don't have to go throw an egg in a Southampton basket or whatever the case may be. So still 0-0. I tuned off for the game really quick, but it looks to me like Chelsea are still dominating, which is not surprising at all. That was an interesting switch from Mount. I don't agree with that switch from Mount. I think it was a bad decision, but it worked out. Yeah, Pulisic's just such a good player. Reece James putting the crosses in. I would be kind of upset if he gets an assist, but I wouldn't blame myself for getting rid of him. Dyer's still yet to play, though, so not a huge deal. Definitely not a huge deal. Frank Lampard, the player that's worse than Gerrard. Not really. I don't really have an opinion about that, but I just wanted to trigger the Chelsea fans. It's cool to see Pulisic in the number 10 shirt. All right, question for chat. Who's the most overrated player in this game? It's hard to really say Werner yet. Like, we haven't seen too much of him. Because I feel like there's a potential for some of these players to be overrated. Like, if they went somewhere else, we may see how bad they are, how good they are. I'm obviously looking for an Arsenal player. I'm gonna have to go with honestly, for me, it's El Nini or Xhaka. Like, I know they're not rated highly, but I like, why are they starting for Arsenal? Like, let's be honest. Like, shouldn't they be on the bench for Crystal Palace? Like, I just don't get it. Shouldn't they be on the bench for West Ham? Like, why are they starting for Arsenal? I think just because of that, they're on the list. I think it's hard to decide between the two of them, but it's, I don't know, man. Not a fan of it. Like, if you told me, oh yeah, next year El Nini, he's a sub for West Ham, I'd be like, yeah, okay. It's like, of course, why would he not be? I've always said that about Sissoko, though. Last couple of seasons, I was kind of a Sissoko hater. Like, I was like, oh, he should be on the bench for Watford, but he's done better. I feel like he's had some good moments. But I've seen his passing be really poor at times. I've respect the basket. What were your thoughts about the Leicester game today? I thought Man United should have won from a footballing perspective. From an FPL perspective, it just showed why Fernandes is so good. Rashford should have scored twice. Sort of let United down. I guess I'm being a bit harsh on him. Like, you can't expect him to score every time he gets a big chance, but I really thought he should have scored. That's all I could really say. Vardy is just, he does what he does. He finds a way to get a goal. But Bruno is just, he's so incredible with the way he just gets FPL points when he gets the chance or does things to create FPL points. He reminds me of the way, like, a dominant, like, player in, like, high school, like, plays soccer, like, or football. Like, he doesn't make mistakes. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, what I'm thinking about is the first goal Leicester scored when Bruno lost that ball. I'm like, what is Bruno doing? Like, he's taking it too casually. Like, he's taking his opposition too casually. It happens occasionally, and he does it. And I'm like, you're too good for that, but it is what it is. Yes, Sissoko has a decent FIFA card this season. Luckily, I'm, like, way beyond, like, those level of players. Like, Marcos Llorente's FIFA card is amazing. It's only 84 rated, the team of the week, but it's amazing. My center mids are Essien and Baby Essien from the SBC and not Sissoko, Llorente, and they're just so good. Essien's not great, actually, but it is what it is. I got him for free, so. Abraham, I don't think he's overrated. I like Abraham. Yeah, I forgot about Maguire. But I think the secret's out on Maguire. He's too slow to hold a high line. He has his downside. He can be good on the ball. I don't mind him, but he's kind of a liability. His pace is an issue. His pace is always going to be an issue. Like, whenever you're slow, it's just always a problem. But back to the Leicester game. I was impressed with Barnes' finish. I was not expecting him to score that. I did think that Manchester United really failed, though. I think they should have finished that game off. But Bruno, man, what an amazing FPL option he is. I wasn't able to watch the whole game because I was just too tired, and I fell asleep. But I'm trying to remember what happened. You could make the case that Leicester were also pretty lucky with the goals they scored. But it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Zuma Maguire, I agree. I think Zuma's better than Maguire. More athletic, in form right now, better at heading the ball. Maguire is decent at getting his head to the ball, but geez, he misses a lot of headers nowadays, doesn't he? I remember, I think it was last week or the week before, I checked and on the FPL ICT thing, they had Maguire first in terms of threat. Shows how many chances he gets and he doesn't score, unlike Zuma. Obviously, Zuma gets a lot of chances too, but he finishes them off. And I know defenders aren't judged on scoring goals, but if you can score a goal, that's always important. And Zuma's done very well with that. And he hasn't really made that many mistakes, which is very important for a defender. You know, I thought Arsenal were going to have a little more attacking threat this game, to be honest. I just thought Chelsea were going to score on them. I mean, I like Saka and Lacazette. I think Saka and Lacazette can create something. Oh, Arsenal should have scored that, really. Didn't even get the shot off, but still had a good chance. They got a corner out of it, though. But yeah, Saka and Lacazette, I mean, that's where I think the goals will come from. Both of them were out of the play when it came to finishing that chance off, so I guess that's that's why they didn't score. But yeah, Saka's a quality player. I feel bad for Saka. Young player coming into Arsenal. He thinks, oh, I'm a part of a big team. Look at me. I made it in. And he makes it in, and the whole team around him just isn't good. But they can always turn things around. I mean, so Aubameyang gets back fit. If he starts playing well, they need to make signings, though. Like, I know they haven't been managed well. You can make the argument. But they need to make signings, which brings me to something I was going to say earlier, and then I lost my train of thought. What is up with Mikel Arteta with making the claims about, like, oh, we had a 7% chance of losing? Like, where did you just pull these numbers? Like, where did you come up with these numbers? Just pulling them out of your anus or something? Like, you can't just say, oh, we had a 7% chance of losing. It's crazy, right? We lost. What? Where did that come from? Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have a source or a reason why he just said these numbers, but he certainly didn't make it clear. It sounds to me like he's just, like, coming up with numbers. Like, it just came off oddly defensive. I mean, I get that nobody would be happy with taking the level of criticism that he has and, you know, taking over Arsenal and they're doing poorly, but geez, it's crazy. It's crazy that back in the day, Barcelona were thinking about getting Bellerin. That would have been a terrible signing, but Barcelona have went down the drain anyway, so. Yeah, at the World Cup, Maguire was decent, actually. I thought he was good. Maguire does always look dumbfounded. It's funny. Arsenal are bad. Yeah, Thiago Silva is definitely better than Maguire, in my opinion. And that's the criticism I've always had of Arsenal right there. I really couldn't agree more. They need leaders. They need a more competitive vibe. It seems, I mean, we don't know, but it seems too friendly. It seems like, with people like Aubameyang and Lacazette, they're good to play with, but you also need some more Roy Keane energy, even like some more, I don't know, Eric Dyer energy, like somebody a little bit like edgy and competitive, like with that energy. You don't want Rob Holding on your team, you know? You don't want a bunch of, I don't know, man. They don't really have a leader. When Xhaka is your captain, it's not good. Is he even their captain anymore? I don't know. Is it Bellerin? You could tell I pay attention to Arsenal. I know it's Aubameyang, but for this game, I'm not sure who's wearing the captain armband. But, yeah, they haven't had a leader in a while. They haven't had somebody that you look at Arsenal and be like, oh, yeah, that's Arsenal. Like, I don't know. Lampard used to be with Chelsea, and they had John Terry. Now, with Liverpool, you got Jordan Henderson, and you got people that have been there for a while, and you know that they really invested in the club. Like even Firmino, and obviously Salah and Mane have establish something. But they have players like Robertson who have that fire in them. Arsenal, I'm never convinced by them. Oof, I thought Abraham was going to score that for some reason. It wasn't a great chance, but I felt like he was close to getting a little more space than he got there. But it's the corner, and I love to see these corners because, of course, I have Zuma. So let's hope Zuma can do something soon from a corner. Good work from Werner to get that ball down to Abraham. With the way Chelsea have been scoring on corners, I would be really worried giving up corners to them right now. Zuma was coming in for that ball if nobody would have got a piece of that, as Reece James just skies it way over the bar. That was terrible. I don't even know what that was. What was that technique? I mean, he was trying to clip it in, I guess, but geez, he got way under that. That was insane. Magnus Carlsen doesn't have any Chelsea players, actually. Who else should I look up? Oh, is this his name? Oh, yeah, so this is, let's look up Late Riser. Obviously, he had a bad start to the season, but let's just stalk some people. Ooh, Pulisic. Look at the speed on Pulisic. Underrated. Mason Mount got no curl at all on that shot. Just hit it straight. Late Riser still has Martial. Didn't work out for him. I mean, not a huge fan of the Martial pick, to be honest. He captained him last week over Fernandez. I mean, obviously it's not a terrible team. I don't know. I don't want to criticize him, but he's obviously a great player. Didn't start off with Salah though, and that really hurt him. But he just doesn't play the way I play at all, really. Like transferring out the big hitters all the time. Like, I get that it has high upside, but it's almost always going to be a dirty transfer, or at least has risk to be a dirty transfer, which is the term I use for when you get rid of a player and they score points. Like, there's always that potential, like getting rid of players that are big all the time. That's why I go with the opposite strategy of just keeping the big hitters, because they're gonna continue to get at least some points. And the fixtures, their performances aren't typically as dependent on fixtures as, West Ham defenders, for example. Like, I doubled up on them earlier in the season. And the players like Grealish and Watkins, more dependent on fixtures. So I think it's typically, that's the way I look at it. It's more worth it to transfer in those players and move them around and keep the players like Bruno and Salah and all those players in. But when you wildcard and stuff, that's when, I got rid of Son on wildcard. I did bring him back in, though, but I sold Mahrez to bring him in. Ooh, is that a penalty? What just happened? I can't hear it. I think they called a penalty. Reece James fouls Tierney in the box. I think that's going to stand. It looks like a penalty to me. That does look like a penalty. I'm going to turn my notifications off so I can't see if he scores it until I see it. Stream's a little bit behind real life. Not the best tackle there from Reece James. I feel like that was it that necessary, because it wasn't like he was one-on-one with the keeper. Like, it was a tough angle. Yeah, it's most likely going to be a goal, or a big chance at least, but when you're playing Arsenal, make them put the ball in the back of the net from something that isn't a penalty. Like, that's a pointless foul. I'm not a fan of that, obviously. But Lacazette's going to take it. From my understanding, he's decent at penalties, at least. To be fair, he barely touched Tierney. Tierney did a good job if he did dive. I don't think Tierney necessarily had to fall. Fair play to Tierney for going down. I could be criticizing for going down so easily, but that's just how you have to play. You get contact, if you can sell it and go down, good for you. I mean, it's the ref's fault that people dive. Because a lot of times refs don't call things if you don't fall. You can get legitimately fouled, and just because you stood up, you stayed up, you won't call it. The exit takes the penalty. And of course he scores, sends Mini the wrong way. Now, it doesn't feel so bad if you did bench James or the Chelsea defenders. 1-0 Arsenal. And that's all it takes, one mistake. And now then you're losing to Arsenal. Of course, Lacazette scores. Wouldn't really expect anybody else in this team to score the goal in this big game, but could always happen. If Arsenal win this, it'll be so big for them, like their confidence, and Arteta feels safe in his job. Tierney goes down incredibly easily there, but jeez, fair play to him for getting the call. That's what you had to do. Reece James has got to be upset. He clearly doesn't look too happy. Man, well, Zuma lost his clean sheet. I'm okay with it because the high ownership of Chelsea defenders doesn't hurt me too bad, but obviously I would prefer a clean sheet. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal scored this game. I thought it was going to be because Chelsea were missing defenders, but they're not. Still, you're putting people in that may have not expected to play. We don't know the situation. As Xhaka completely misses. He just completely whiffed the ball. It turned into a great dummy, but that's pure luck. Reece James again. Is he going to foul again? Nope, doesn't look like it. He's going to be in that state where he's going to be too conservative for the rest of the game. 10 minutes till halftime. I don't think Chelsea will score, but if Arsenal keep giving the ball away like that, then they will. It's like a 3v4-5 counterattack. Not really that much of a chance, but the ball just keeps bouncing around for Chelsea. So, meanwhile, Werner decides to dribble the ball out of bounds. So that's always good. That's where you want your 9 million striker in the corner, by the corner flag, giving away the ball. It's always good. That was good defending right there by Chelsea. Then they give the ball away. But I was going to say, they sort of baited them in. It almost looked like bad defending at first because they didn't have pressure on the ball, but they had a sort of high line. So, of course, naturally, any midfielder that picks up the ball there is going to look for the ball over the top. But they really just anticipated the pass and just tracked back right before the ball was sent and got the easy interception. And then gave the ball back away. But initially it was good. It was almost deceptive defending. It's not necessarily a reliable strategy to defend with, but if you're good, you can pull it off. Just following every run before the pass is hit. I would prefer to defend like that than trying to hold the high line and hold the offside trap, because that's just a way to get punished, really. Martinelli. Martinelli could be in the conversation for the most overrated player in the game. Does he really always dive the wrong way? What would your perfect free hit team be for Game Week 18? That's a good question, because I probably won't talk about it any other time, because I'm not going to. So trying to keep in mind funds. Let's go to the transfers page, I suppose. So right away, you're going to want to have really cheap options on the bench. But Game Week 18 free hit. So we have, let me go back to the game so I can keep it on. Newcastle obviously have a great matchup. Callum Wilson is immediately an option because of that. So I would probably include Callum Wilson in the team. I wish I could wish there was a button to completely clear the team, but there isn't. So all of my strikers actually play this week, but Colin Wilson instead of Watkins for sure. Kane probably stays in, and Calvert-Lewin has a decent chance to stay in as well. For now, I think that's an okay front line. It's more based on quality than fixture, but you also have Wilson in there with the great fixture. So Salah and Bruno obviously have to go. Let's see if we can keep Kane and Son in the team. I would like to be able to. I think you had to throw De Bruyne in there. And then I think you have to, you don't have to necessarily do anything with Man City, but I think it makes sense to have Sterling, or maybe you could go Aguero. I don't think I would go Grealish against Tottenham. I think I would rather have... So for me, you know what? Let's go to Arsenal. Let's see what we can do with this Arsenal team besides just defenders. I'm not too interested, to be honest, but if you do throw Saka in there, I can't say I really would, but who would the other midfielders be that you could put in? I mean, another Man City guy, of course, but let's take Soufal out and let's go ahead and put in Bellerin. Let's take Zuma out. It's going to be a Man City defender. I think this is something like what I would do. Let's get one that's reasonably safe. Cancelo. Do I have the money for that? Yeah. So, I think 4-3-3 almost makes sense. You could get a better Newcastle defender here. I would be tempted by 4-3-3. I think it makes sense because you have some decent matchups here. If you go Newcastle, you can get whichever one's more nailed on at the time. I mean, who really knows? But you know what? Let's say Lewis. Lewis is cheap, but let's say Lewis. And then you can even get you could double up on Man City. You could double up on Arsenal defensively. Maybe Tottenham. There's Keane too. You could throw in there. Neto is a good option just for the cash sake. And then final defender, I mean, you have a lot of options here. But I think something like this is okay. You get Kane and Son in there. If you have good value with them, then it makes sense. You get double Newcastle. Maybe you throw in an Arsenal attacker here. Maybe this is Saka. I quite like Neto. It's a decent matchup. I think I would have at least one Wolves attacker. Probably two Newcastle players at least. I think it would be something like this. You could play Neto 3-4-3, Cancelo, Bellerin, maybe Dyer or Lewis, probably Lewis. I think the big decision would be Sterling or not. I don't know what else you would do with that money. Maybe Aubameyang. So I think Sterling, if Aubameyang is looking better at the time, I would go Aubameyang over Sterling and then double up on Man City defense. I think that's actually the way to go. So Aubameyang here and then Diaz and Cancelo, and then maybe 4-3-3 or 3-4-3. You decide. You're either gonna be playing Neto or Lewis, I would say. So Cancelo, Diaz, Bellerin, and then Neto, Aubameyang, Son, De Bruyne, and then the front three. So I think that's basically what I would do, because it's pretty easy to decide really. 3 Man City, two Man City defenders. I think I would lean that way instead of the double up on the attack. And I would definitely throw some Newcastle players in there because of the Sheffield United matchup. And all the while, I know Wolves don't have Spurs don't have the best matchup, but I think with those players, you can easily still have Son and Kane in. And just hope they have a good big game. But who knows? Maybe they'll be out of attacking form by then. I wouldn't be too surprised. So maybe just one of them. If you think there's maybe Aguero over Kane, as Arsenal will get their free kick. They try to take it quickly, but they get called back. What a weird thing to be watching. I would expect Xhaka to shoot this, but Lacazette's looking like he wants to shoot it. Xhaka doesn't have a bad long shot on him. He really doesn't. Arsenal are gonna win. Arsenal are gonna win the game. Oh man, I actually on my NBC Sports predictor app. Let me see what I predict. I think I predicted 1-1. Because I don't know. Because I thought Chelsea's injuries were gonna get the better of them, but geez, I did not predict the Arsenal win. Yeah, I predicted it to be 1-1. Wow, what a free kick that was. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I mean, I would be tempted by Aguero at some point, Alan, but like you said, he's got to play the next couple of matches and also show me something, because like right now, the striker position for Man City hasn't been a position that naturally gets chances like we've seen with Jesus, right? I know it's completely different, but yeah, the Man City striker position hasn't been too impressive. So maybe it changes with him, but wow, what a free kick that was. Jeez, man, that's... Who got fouled? Who gets the assist for that? Let me turn my notifications back on. Is that an FPL relevant goal? Saka got the assist, so I mean maybe a little bit, but nobody has Xhaka. I don't really care about the goal. I've given up on the hope of Zuma getting points, but wow. Two crazy moments, really. I mean, I can't say Arsenal have been the better team. They score a great free kick. Reece James makes a mistake. But hey, that's your team's fault. If you make mistakes, you're going to lose. That's part of being a good team is avoiding mistakes. So, but wow, that's crazy. Arsenal could score again too. Like, Chelsea have to be shocked right now. It's one of those games where you can win, but it's just not happening. He looked offside to me right there, but maybe not. Arsenal getting the ball in the box once again. But that is halftime. 2-0 Arsenal. Who would have expected that? That's absolutely crazy. I mean, I guess it's not that crazy, but the goals they scored, Chelsea are definitely upset with that. That is very surprising. Arsenal will probably find a way to lose. How's it going, Nasty Balls? That's not surprising at all. I think that's a decent thing. That's a decent point to make. With the quality of players they have over the course of 90 minutes, I would not be surprised if they find a way to lose. I do think Frank needs to change something, and I would say it's probably tactical and not just a substitution. Like, they need to find a way to be more stable. Arsenal should not be able to attack them as easy as it's been. Not that it's been crazy, I still think, but just the fact that they've gotten the ball in the box as much as they have is not what you really want to see. But I never really expected too many points from Zuma this week. Makes me happier about selling James, by the way. But these fixtures up, I can't even click. Aston Villa at home, still decent. But I'm quite happy with only one Chelsea defender. Like, I'm just glad I don't have two. I'd probably almost have 0 now, but I do have a lot of value in Zuma as well. Anyway, I am going to end the stream there. I've been streaming for a while. I actually don't have my laptop charger, so it's going to die soon. So I'm basically forced to end the stream. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully I answered any questions you had. And it's cool. I'm just so glad Watkins got a return. So that's just amazing. 11 points, 3 assists, no bonus. Have they updated that? Is Watkins actually going to get bonus? No, he's not even close. So, yeah, thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Happy Boxing Day and all that good stuff. And good luck this game week. No, there's not long left, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Bye.